Let's talk a little bit about references because, as I've shown you, you're going to have a folder with all the full text in it. So, what do you do? How do you get these references if they're not freely available online? For an annotated manuscript, you should actually really get the full text so that you can annotate. And the main rule is that clients should pay for purchasing any references. And this is in contrast to when you're writing up a needs assessment. Needs assessments are lower paying. By definition, the project hasn't been funded yet. But if you're writing up a manuscript, the project has been funded, they've got some kind of budget and they should expect to put some of that budget towards getting the full texts. You want to provide the client with a well-researched list of what you need up front. And then also it's good to ask them if they have any relevant full texts, maybe from their clients. The client often has a library of all their publications, which they will want you to have. And definitely worth asking that if they don't give you any full texts up front. And then in PubMed, as I've mentioned before, you're going to do a search, and many of those references are going to be free full text, but you should not select a reference based on the fact that it's free. And you want to get the best reference, not the free reference, which may not be the same thing. And then I will recommend that you try this website here, sci-hub.se. Take a look at it. Also, look at the wiki page on this because there's some controversy about it. It's bypassing the firewall of many publishing houses, and you may not think that's fair to the publishing houses. But if you're just a little medical writer trying to get by in this world and you just need the occasional reference, you're not trying to resell them or anything like that, then maybe you can feel okay with using that site. I will let you decide, but it is a very good way to get some of the references, especially those that aren't brand new. And then when it comes to referencing programs, you don't have to use these. I went for years without learning how to use EndNotes and all of that, but it is useful to some extent. It's not useful for the medical writer, it's useful for the client, and it's useful for an academic person that's always writing about the same topic. But as a medical writer, you're always writing about different topics. So you're always creating a new library and it just takes time. It adds to the time, really. But it's good to have it, especially if you need to rearrange sections of the manuscript. And it just becomes very easy to update the manuscript when you have a referencing program. So EndNote is, I think at the time of this recording, is about a couple of $100. And Zotero is free. Mendeley is free. I don't know how to use Mendeley, but Zotero is quite easy to use and it's free. And just because it's free, it doesn't mean it's not absolutely as good as EndNote and actually easy to use and does the same thing. So I would try Zotero if you want to learn just one of these. It's very good. The Microsoft Word does have an EndNote function where you can add you can add a reference at the end of a document using that function, but it's generally not sufficient and it creates a problem if you need to repeat references and rearrange them and it's just not as robust as you would want it to be. So Zotero first choice, EndNote if you have to. Clients usually like to use EndNote, so that's the reason that you might want to use that. And then, if you have a spare afternoon or a couple of hours, it really helps. I know it's intimidating to learn something new sometimes, like a referencing program, but if you're going to be at this medical writing thing a while, you should probably learn EndNote, and they've got all kinds of training at their website. The organization is where you can just search EndNote training, and this is the official training, and it has all these videos, and they're good. It's quite helpful. So you can learn that. And then Zotero also, I don't think it has an official YouTube channel, but type in Zotero tutorial and then the year that you're listening to this, you'll get an updated tutorial. It'll give you all the information that you need. And then I just wanted to say a note about citing primary references in manuscripts. This sort of goes without saying, but it's amazing how it's not done correctly sometimes. You might see a statement that absolutely should be in your manuscript, but that statement is from a review article. You really shouldn't use the review article unless it's the opinion of the authors that are writing that review article. So if it's actually a fact that they're stating, and that especially if they've referenced it, then you don't use the review article in your reference. You use the primary reference. You have to go hunt that down, search it, and sometimes it's not correct what they've referenced. So just don't assume that, the reference that they use is actually correct. A lot of times it isn't. So in AMWA, we have a code of ethics, and you can just Google that and it'll pull this up. But you can see in Principle 3 of the AMWA Code of Ethics that it says they should attempt to prevent the perpetuation of incorrect information. If you have a statement, then that reference should be where that statement came from and should be, the actual study that found that finding, whatever it is, okay? You should be really careful about that. Don't use a review article. So that's it for references.